Okay, very happy to be joined by Hayley Valentine, who is in action. Combate Global, March 13th in Miami, taking on Kenia Enriquez. Hayley, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Obviously, great to have you on. The fight is in Miami, just a few days' time. So, how are these next few days going to look for you?
Man, it's so exciting, so surreal, and to be able to go opportunity to go over to Miami is literally so exciting. And hopefully for like me and my team, it opens more door for us and get us out there as well.
Yeah, so you just said before we started recording that your plan is to fly out on Sunday. What do you have planned over in Miami? Obviously the fight is that following week. Do you have any more plans while you're out there? Obviously the focus is going to be on the cut and getting ready for the fight, but do you have time to fit in any sightseeing or anything like that while you're there?
I definitely make some time for it. Like whenever we do go out to travel for comps or when I go for fights, I always make time to go do a bit of sightseeing, see a bit of the nightlife, and yeah, I'll check a few bits out. Because we do fly out the Sunday, the flight's not until the Thursday, so we'll probably have to do some media days and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll make time for some it.
Yeah, like you say, I'm sure there'll be some media. It's a big promotion. It's a big opportunity for you. Um, Give us the sort of timeline coming into this fight because people might remember around the start of the year, you, like about 400 other fighters, were a part of the GFL draft pool. Unfortunately, not drafted. Give us the timeline, firstly, how that came and went, and then how that led you to this opportunity.
Yeah, so with all that, like, even though like I'm in the gym every day, always prepping for something because you just never know what we could come across. And yeah, it was quite unfortunate that we didn't get drafted for the GFL. But my mindset said on like, look, if that's coming up, something else will come up in the future, which thankfully it did, to be fair. And we were planning on, well, like, we did plan on going to Amsterdam to do some things out there, and that was beginning of February. So we flew out to Amsterdam, and that's like, look, we've been given this opportunity to get an opponent on Combat Global. What do you think? So we took a look, and this was all happening whilst we were getting ready to go to Amsterdam. And I was like, look, I think it was a great opportunity, and for a fight like this, and you can see it's a bit of a status fight because she's a professional boxer coming into doing MMA. I was like, that is quite an intriguing fight to come across. I was like, let's do it. And now being a part of this has now opened a lot more opportunities for us all.
Yeah, like you say, she's coming over from boxing. It's definitely a unique opportunity. How have you been able to prepare yourself for that? Have you watched her boxing matches, or is it a case of like, well, that's not really relevant in MMA. You know what she's going to want to do in the fight. So
Mm.
then is it just a case of focusing on yourself?
You basically, you're like, as a mixed martial artist, you'd always be ready for anybody that's got a strength in a certain area. Like I face judo players, good strikers, good grapplers, and that's why you just got to be an all rounder. So yes, she's got a very good boxing, and then that's her strength, and this is where we'll take a lot from this fight to see how much she's learned in the months of training ready for MMA. And I'm just ready for anything, always having that mindset that anything can be possible to happen. And yes, of course, we've checked out her boxing. She's probably checked my fights out as well. Like, it's all over YouTube, and so is hers. And it just gives me an idea what the stand up as we are standing up is going to be like. So it's nothing major, and I'm ready for this fight. I think for a while I've been ready for something like this in the long term. I've been prepping for 10 years of my life for something like this, so I'm ready for anything.
How familiar were you with Combate before this? Because obviously they've had a little bit of a time off, I think, but
Mm.
before that, they had always put a lot into their women's fighters.
Yeah, like I've actually seen them on the grid a few times. Like I've checked out their shows, watched some of their fights because there was quite some gruesome submissions on their show that I've seen. They're like very good, um, well go to promotion, and especially for international fighters, that they seem to treat them well. They seem to be a good place to start. Like literally, where else can you grumble? Like it'd be nice to get other shows, but with Combat Global, they do have the atomweight division, which is also for my
Mm.
forte as well. So they are a big benefit for us females. So they have, especially for the atomweight, that is my opportunity, hopefully in the long run as well, to try their division as well.
Yeah, like there's not many places, certainly in the Western world, that do atomweight. You've obviously got there, you've got Invicta, but in terms of
Mm,
notable places, that's really it. Um, and Combate, obviously, you mentioned she's coming in from boxing. They
mm,
have a bit of a history of doing this too with Amanda Serrano.
mm. Yeah, I've seen like because now Kenia has been the second lady now from boxing to transfer onto their show. I did do a little bit of history digging as well, which is great. Like another woman from boxing is now transferred to doing MMA, and for Combative to be given her opportunity, um, yeah, it's great, and it gives me an opportunity to experience a person who's been doing boxing for 12 years to come over to MMA, and I can't grumble at that. I'll take the opportunity.
Obviously, I think the financial side is a big reason why the men don't necessarily come over to MMA from boxing, but you see it quite a lot with women. Obviously, Amanda there. We've seen Clarissa Shields. We've seen Savannah Marshall in the PFL. Why do you think they always try to test themselves in that way?
I think so. What I did see, and I feel Kanea had this problem as well. Like, is in boxing for her, no one wanted to fight her because I think she was building up the record, she was building up the wins, and people just look at you as like, look, I don't want to fight her because she's got this and that, and it's the same for me. So people going from boxing, kickboxing, no one wants to fight them, so they have to try something different, and that's where not like it was by choice, but because I struggled getting someone at my weight as well. So, and now eventually people want to, okay, I've had enough. I want to try something else. Coming over to MMA helps all of us get more opportunities to have fights. And we look into it not just for the sake of it, but another chance to actually have a fight for once. It's a real struggle.
You obviously said that you've watched her boxing matches there. Have you seen stuff in there that you think, well, obviously she's doing this in boxing and maybe something similar that she would be able to bring into MMA? Obviously, you can't really fight the same way, but have you seen things where you're like, oh, she might be able to do that, and then this is how I can deal with that? Or is it just like, yeah, she's got this one great skill, but the stuff she's able to do in the boxing matches isn't really transferable, like exactly?
Well, it can work. Like it's not going to be a surprise, but the only thing that's going to a surprise is that if I predicted too much that she's going to do one thing, you should never predict that in MMA. So I know she's going to rely on the boxing, but she's going to mix it up. And it's just going to be very fundamental striking where she'll just use boxing just to probably keep me away. But it's MMA. You never know what's going to happen. She may throw kicks as a surprise to me as well. So you never know. But nothing is a surprise to me from what we've been seeing. So, and that's why like, I'm mentally ready. Like I know it's not going to be an easy fight. So that's why and we're ready for this fight.
I don't know if you're able to say, but contractually, is it just a one fight deal from Combate, or is there a longer term agreement there?
At the moment, it is a one fight. I think to see what we go from this, and it could be another opportunity for us all. Um, Especially like it'll be my first fight out of in Miami. For yeah for Well, I did jujitsu, tell a lie. I did jujitsu in Florida, but that don't count. So hopefully we can get more from this, and just hopefully they can keep me on for some more opportunities and try their atomweight division as well.
Right, and it's the kind of thing that even if that doesn't happen, it's putting your name out there further, right? In terms of a new sort of audience, like obviously you wouldn't have fought in America before. People in America are going to see this. They're going to know who Hayley Valentine is. Similar to the GFL thing, although obviously you didn't get drafted. That is obviously something that put your name in the front of Combate.
Yeah, so I think once. that was all announced and everything, I did have all eyes on me. I had like a few other promotions say like, "Oh, I saw you didn't get drafted to GFL, but would you still fancy having this fight?" And that's when we all sat back talking with my team and the management team, say like about this. But we're not just taking fights for the sake of it. Like, there's going to be a legit like reason, and legit like you got to be fight smart, as people say. You can't just take it for the sake of it, and it's got to be a good fight, not just like an easy win. Like, I'm always here to challenge myself. Like I say, I'm against a world class boxer,
Yeah.
so that's something that we're out here for, just to see where we are. So it is unfortunate what happened with GFL, and like best of luck to what's happening with them, and you never know what more could happen from them.
'Cause I remember when you first got drafted and, like, obviously the graphics had your record there, and it's like,
Mm.
5-0, there wasn't many undefeated people in that roster. Obviously, a lot of their roster was kind of the older, bigger names, but in terms of being an undefeated younger prospect in that organization at that time, it's definitely something that stood out to me just as a fan ahead of that draft. So I'm sure that's something that's gonna jump out to a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned the other opportunities there. Were they UK based, Europe based?
Yeah, these ones were UK based as well, and um some shows that I've never tried before, which is like, okay, that's great. But I think some of them were like, nah, we're not taking this one. It's not me saying it. People think it's me saying it, but it's not. We're
Mm,
discussing it with my team. So we're talking within reason. It's not because it's like, oh, it's my choice. We all have a discussion about it. So that's where people need to clarify that it's not just me. I'm discussing it with my team. It's not just that.
yeah. Um, and I know, obviously, especially at atomweight, finding fights has been hard for you, but it does feel like the women's scene in the UK is really growing at the minute. Obviously, there's gyms like GB Top Team where there's so
Mm,
many women. There's a lot of amateur women as well who are on
mm.
the way up now. We did our amateur awards on the website at the end of the year, and so many women there with great records on the way up. Is that something that you're noticing as well?
Yeah, I am actually, like, especially there's Cage Warriors this month. There's a few names on there, which is great. At least there's another women on the Cage Warriors card. Who else? I have noticed some where there was someone Aries as well. A friend of mine was on there as well. Yeah, and I'm glad because there was, especially on the UFC card actually previously, I think it was in Seattle, there was no women on that card. So it's trying, but we are getting there. It's just not an easy road, but we're trying. That's one thing I can say.
Definitely. It's been a while since you've been in there, especially for someone that's early in their career, 5-0. Probably not the ideal situation in terms of trying to get that development, but um, what is going to be different about the Hayley Valentine stepping into the cage next week versus the Hayley Valentine back in 2023, the last time you fought?
So, like I said earlier, it wasn't by choice that I was
Yeah,
out for so long. So we were getting fights. Some were falling through. Some weren't really ideal, and I've never stopped. I've not stopped. So people thinking like I've been 2 years out. I've not been out. I've been working like as people would do.
yeah,
You'd be working, just training aspects. And I think what's going to be different is that I've had time. I've had time. And you appreciate that time where you've got more time just to work, perfect everything. And I remember back, obviously, in 2023, where I had one fight every month. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I love it. But I think now it's the time that's going to be different. And you'll see a lot more in this fight than you have previously.
yeah. I spoke to a young fighter last week who he got like a 30-second knockout and then he had 6 months out. And I'm just thinking, like, at the time in your mind, that's probably not ideal. You probably want to get back in there, but it's that 6 months where you can really knuckle down.
Yeah, it's like it's time that you can reflect and you look back at your fights and you can strategize on new things coming up, new things that are happening. But they're not new, but they're being modified in UFC's Cage Warriors. Are you seeing what's being more common and used, and other strategies that we can use with other people that are good strikers, good grapplers. So yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more that's going to be seen this time.
Perfect. Looking forward to it. I've got a quick fire segment here, so I'm going to throw some quick fire things at you.
Go for it.
Okay. Favorite food,
Oh, lasagna. I love lasagna.
favorite drink,
Dos pepper. Love dos pepper.
go-to breakfast.
Oh, pancakes. Oh, this was terrible. Like when I was in Amsterdam, I was craving pancakes for breakfast, and every day I had pancakes.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess you weren't able to enjoy Pancake Day yesterday, unfortunately.
Um, I had my own version. Like I make my own kind of pancakes, so I
Ah,
kind of got away with it. So I had my
I
version
see.
of it.
Okay. Okay. Um, favorite movie.
Oh gosh, my all-time favorite has always been the Dark Knight film with Heath Ledger in it.
Yeah.
That's always been a classic film with like such action and depth of Heath Ledger's acting. I loved it. So that's been an all-time favorite for me.
Yeah. Favorite TV show.
Oh, oh, Peaky Blinders. That's always been my favorite. Will always be my favorite. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that over COVID, and that's what got me depth into that. I really like that.
Favorite musician.
Ooh, oh God. Um, oh God, oh God. Recently, it's been what's his name? Tommy? No, Teddy. Teddy Swims. Love
Teddy
Teddy
Swims.
Swims.
Yeah. Favorite sport other than MMA.
Ah, okay. Um, Hockey actually. I really enjoyed hockey when I
Yeah.
was younger. I was quite brutal at it, so that's probably if I didn't do MMA, it could have been hockey.
Yeah. It's a tough sport.
So, because my mum did hockey back in when she was in school, so I think I get it from her.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, favorite fight. So favorite fight of your own, and then a favorite fight to watch.
Okay, so with my fight, oh god, it's like flashbacks. I think the one I enjoyed most was my pro debut. That's
Yeah.
that stepping mark in my life where, save for the kind of this fight where you're coming against a veteran who's been in the sport for so long. So with Kenia, she's got 12 years of boxing experience. With Catherine, who's my debut, she was again another MMA veteran, and that was a passing on the torch moment of my fight. So that one of my fight, that was the best fight I've ever had. And the best fight. You can never doubt. Say it was Joanna Jacek versus Zhang Weili. That was the most intense fight ever. You can see the outcome from that one.
Hmm. Yeah, I just had a look. Catherine in your pro debut, she'd had 9 fights by that point when you had your pro debut against her.
Exactly. So that one
That's kind of wild. That's not something you see happen often.
no, and that was straight after COVID as well. So
Yeah,
when I was given that opportunity to say, like, look, we have this woman, she's got this record, she's got this and that, take a look. This is opportunity where you can go pro now. And I took a look, I was like, let's just go for it. And
yeah,
my team believed in me. They really believed that I could do that fight. And they have never been wrong. Like whatever they have said to me, I have done. And to be able to have proved that was a very heartwarming moment in my life. And that's really, yeah, stamped a moment in my memories forever.
yeah. Um, favorite fighter.
Favorite fighter?
Yeah,
Oh, guy. There's just so many because they've all got their own persona, style.
yeah.
Like Alex Piera, like he's got such a dangerous style. Um, oh, guy. I am going to say probably the man would be GSP. Always
Yeah.
GSP.
Favorite submission to practice.
Oh, submission. See, because I'm a well-round grappler, whatever I see, I take. So I think, oh god, my go-to submission. Not giving too much away, but I
Yes.
will say I'd like. Does it mean gi, no gi, or MMA style?
You can take this as however you want.
See, for gi, I like a bow and arrow choke, because that's
Mm.
always kind of my type of style. So I like to say bow and arrow. If it's no gi MMA, I would say Kimura.
Funniest person you've met in MMA.
Say again, sorry.
Funniest person you've met in MMA.
Oh my gosh, funniest person. Oh, someone did crack me. Oh god. The only person I've met in MMA was MVP when he came to our gym to train. Sound
Yeah.
guy. So yeah, I'd have to say yeah, MVP. He's quite a funny chap.
Um, and best piece of advice you've been given.
Wow. You know what? It's been so hard because I've had so many people tell me different advice in life, and many of them all say the same thing. It is always it's either upwards and onwards. That's always the best one because it's relatable in MMA. It's relatable in life because I've had challenges in my life, and so have they. So we all say it's either upwards and onwards. Has always been the advice, and yeah, that's the one I'd say. That's been my best advice.
Perfect. I want to thank you for taking the time today, Hayley. Of course, Combate Female is where you can see her in action March 13th. It's on YouTube, so no excuses. There's no reason not to watch. Just finally, Hayley, give us the hard sell. When yourself, Kenia Enriquez step into the cage, what can the people expect?
Expect me to represent Team England, and it will stamp a mark for us for sure. That's what I'm going to say.
Perfect. Very excited to watch the card next week. Thanks for taking the time, Hayley. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you.